QTV News coming to you live from our studios along Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main local, international and sports news headlines. Recent windstorms have caused damage and displaced households in various parts of rural Gambia. We'll look at the damage caused in path of URR. To curb the lack of procurement compliance, the Procurement Authority is training 75 contracts committee members from public institutions. All 7 border posts in Gambia have benefited from a donation of computer desktops and accessories from the ECOWAS Permanent Mission in the Gambia. In international news, as a court sentences ex-South African President Jacob Zuma to prison term, his supporters form a human shield around his home to prevent his arrest. 2 African countries celebrate their Independence Day today, namely Malawi and Comoros. And in sports, Nick Dlamini has become the first black South African to compete in the most famous cycling race in the world, the Tour de France. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us. Now, a recent windstorm in the Upper River region has left devastation in its wake, leading to extensive destruction of houses, material and food items, and displacement of victims. As yet, unfortunately, there has been no loss of life or serious injury reported. Lament has the rest of that.
It is becoming an annual disaster in the Upper River region during the rainy season. When a windstorm hits communities in this part of the country, vulnerable households are left with damage that is beyond repair and sometimes leading to displacement. Hudul Ian Kwali, NDMA Regional Coordinator, updates us about the crisis.
It is very devastating because if you go to households that got hit by this windstorm, you will realize that they've lost their buildings, roof, and some of them are beyond repair. Because these are mud blocks that got easily damaged, especially when it is forced by that heavy kind of wind. They've lost their food items, they've lost some household materials like beds, mattresses, and food, as I said. The extent of damage for now, we cannot establish it very well because currently we are with partners doing a joint assessment, rapid assessment for that matter. This will enable us to develop a situational report that will be shared with all partners and government. And then it will be followed by a detailed assessment that will tell you the entire damage caused by the windstorm, and then of course what are some of the issues that was lost in the event.
Lament Sane is a victim of the windstorm at Tambasansang in the Upper River region. His house is badly damaged by the windstorm, leaving it with no roof. It was a house for at least 30 members of his family who are now displaced and currently given shelter in the village.
All these people gathered here offered help, but by that time, the windstorm had already destroyed everything. There was no place to sleep. I took my family to a nearby compound to spend the night, and I spent the night in my car since that day because I don't have accommodation.
The destruction of houses and displacement of their inhabitants can have a serious impact on all the victims, all of whom are farmers. Some of them share with NDMA authorities stories of hard times and reeling from devastations caused by the windstorm. Due to financial constraints, some are unable to repair their houses. It is the same story for this victim in Bantunding.
We depend on the neighborhood for shelter, so we are seeking for support from anyone who can, because we are seriously affected. Even this year's farming season would be difficult because you first need to secure your home before going to the farm.
It is clear these communities are suffering from poor forest cover with very few trees to protect houses from a destructive windstorm, an environment some victims and NDMA officials have highlighted as a major factor for these natural disasters. It has long been recommended that planting more trees can help stem soil erosion and serve as protective cover against destructive winds. Lament, QTV News.
Looking forward to quick response for those victims. Now, a 5-day training course is underway for 75 contracts committee members of public institutions on public procurement rules and regulations. The course is being run by the Gambia Public Procurement Authority in collaboration with UNDP. Omar Pijalo attended the opening and he files in this report.
The objective of the training is to build the capacity and give in-depth knowledge to the contract committee members on public procurement procedures, processes and guidelines. In his opening statement, the Director of Policy and Procurement Operations at the GPPA, Ibrahim Sanyang, said procurement is a complex, multidimensional and highly professional process that demands qualified, well-trained and skilled personnel. As the society and technology evolve, new procurement challenges arise. Thus, the need for policies to adjust to meet these emerging challenges, he added.
May I remind you all, or all of you, that the average yearly expenditure on public procurement in the Gambia is above 60% of government's 5 billion budget. It is generally a rule of thumb that an effective and efficient public procurement system easily saves between 10 to 15% of cost, and in the Gambia this could translate to $500 million.
Reports have shown since 2017, many procuring organizations in the Gambia have not been compliant. Ibrahim Asanyang believes this is due to inadequate capacity, knowledge and skills among procurement officials. Hence, any training that will improve the capacity of stakeholders will undoubtedly have a great impact in ensuring value for money in budget management.
When invitations are sent, they will not just look at the subject. If it is procurement, they send it to procurement. But some trainings target various people, certain individuals, so that when they attend, there will be more impact. Some people that attend certain workshops already know what is to be trained, because these are basic things.
Tijan Jeng, the procurement specialist at UNDP, expressed hope that at the end of the training, participants will acquire the knowledge and skills that will enable them to put value for money at the center of their operations.
The EMP's broad intervention hinges on the NDP strategic priority 2, seeking to complement government efforts in macroeconomic stabilization and economic management to achieve inclusive growth and poverty reduction in the Gambia. More specifically, the project also seeks to address weak economic management, which has significantly contributed to widening fiscal deficits, rising budget debt, and balance of payment problems, minimal alignment between priority areas and resource allocation resulting from weak linkage between planning and budgeting.
Ndumbe Drame Danso, procurement officer at the Ministry of Environment, who is also a participant, shares her expectations.
My expectation at the end of the 5 days, will be contract committee members will have a better understanding of Gambia Public Procurement Act and regulation, and it will help members to do their work effectively and efficiently.
Procurement is the acquisition of goods, works and services on behalf of the public using public funds such as grants, loans and government budgets. The Gambia Public Procurement Authority was established in 2001 to regulate the Gambia's procurement system. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar Pijalo.
Desktop computers and accessories have been presented to all 7 border posts in the Gambia by the ECOWAS Permanent Mission in the Gambia in collaboration with the government and other stakeholders. Our reporter, Alaji A.F. Jallo, has the rest of that.
Establishment of data banks at all the border posts to facilitate the collection, processing and dissemination of data among security forces in the Gambia, to properly monitor the movement of people and goods. At the Sabi border post, where some of the items were delivered, Her Excellency Ms. Lucretia Marian Sharif, Sierra Leone High Commissioner to the Gambia, said that she hopes the items will help ease the work of border security.
Today, we are here to present the computer and the accessories. And we hope that this small gesture will help to ease your job here. It is not easy. You are so far away from the city. But this in itself is a city of its own. And what I would advise you people who are getting these computers today your colleagues on the other borders, that if you can talk to the immigration department to interconnect all of you.
The Regional Commissioner of Immigration, Ba Ensa Jawara, underscored the importance of the computers, saying the materials will help provide sustainable and easy access to data.
These gifts will add value to our work, because we all know records are very important, and records need to be sustainable. And providing these gifts will help us to make our record to be sustainable and to be accessible at any time we need them.
The governor of URL, Sambaba, expressed delight, adding that ECOWAS citizens are welcome in his region.
Be rest assured, as far as the government of the Gambia is concerned, and His Excellency the President Adama Barrow is concerned, the Gambia is committed to fulfilling to the latter the ECOWAS protocols and making sure that they are implemented to the best of our ability and to the best interests of the ECOWAS member countries. So on that note, I always tell you, as committees of ambassadors and committees of high commissioner, be at ease and understand that Upper River region, as far as I am the governor, is an Upper River region of all citizens of ECOWAS. And we are committed to make sure that at least the protocol is being observed, and then the free movement of people, goods, and service is being done without any prejudice.
The president of ECOWAS Citizen in the Gambia, Michel Koivokui, said their objective is to maintain peace and security in the region.
The main objective is to maintain the peace and security, and also to facilitate the work of the immigration officers, as they requested last time. They, when we came, they said that they were lacking some items like computers for them to be able to do their work properly.
The beneficiary border posts are Sabi, Basse, Ker Ali, Amdalai, Jiboro, Dasilame, and Katong. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alaji F. Jalo.
From that story by Alaji A.F. Jallo, we will now go for a short commercial break. When we return, we have local, international, and sports news. Do stay tuned.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News, and I am Jenna Wasonko. Now, residents of Lament are celebrating the inauguration of 225 new solar streetlights worth over $1.5 million at a colorful ceremony held at the community Bantaba. Omar Pijalo witnessed this community initiative bear fruits, and he now reports.
According to the community, the project was initiated by natives of the community currently outside the country, who have plans to light up the entire community of Lament Sateba. Lamin Toure, the chairperson of the Lightning Project Committee, said the goal of these sons and daughters of Lament in the diaspora is to bring joy to the community by giving back to the community, adding that the move could prompt others to emulate the initiative.
Our sisters that used to wait along the highway when they come from outside town, you know, they don't need to wait for anybody now to actually escort them to their various homes, because the street is well lit, you know, with an equidistance of 20 meters apart, the lights. So obviously, even a needle, you know, you can be able to pick it up, you know, once it drops. So obviously, we are very, very proud of the people of the diaspora. We are very, very grateful to them. We cannot thank them highly enough.
On behalf of the women of Lament Sateba, Binta Bojang said citizens must take control of their own destiny by coming together to initiate meaningful development projects than expect government to bring all the development for us. And she expressed her delight at the successful launch of the project.
We are very proud of our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. We are praying for their good health, long life and success. We feel secure with these street lights.
The Secretary General of the Village Development Committee, Yusfa Gomez, thanked all those who contributed towards the success of the project, adding that this kind of initiative would greatly help complement government's efforts in community development.
It has provided lighting throughout the zone. And within this short period of time of its inception, the crime rate and criminality has gone down in this place. In fact, it's eradicated in Sateba. And to go further, the impact is that other zones have started emulating. We have 3 other zones, though it's a different model, but we've already done a similar project in those zones. And as a VDC, the other zones in Lament have started contacting us to seek advice and guidance on how to implement this similar project.
As well as the obvious benefits of lighting the streets, these new streetlights are expected to help significantly reduce crimes, including burglary within the area, while improve women economic activities for vendors who will be able to trade at night. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
This initiative is worth emulating. Now, the National Nutrition Agency, NANA, over the weekend held training for data collectors for the implementation of a project that aims to prevent malnutrition in young children. The training was held in Buyam and supported by the World Food Programme. Yaya Jawa has the rest of that.
Good nutrition is the foundation of every child's survival and development, and malnutrition can have a negative impact on a child's life. This training is meant to equip public health officers, nurses and other stakeholders with the knowledge and skills that are key to prevent malnutrition in infants and young children. The training will also see participants trained on a data collection system called Sentinel Site Surveillance. At the event, the executive director of NANA, Modu Cheyasin Fall, said malnutrition is a major problem in Africa due to poor diet. He said apart from stunting, wasting and underweight, other forms of malnutrition such as micronutrient deficiencies are rampant in the Gambia and are a major public health problem which need to be addressed. He went on to urge participants to take the training seriously to gain useful knowledge and skills to do their work. He also thanked the WFP for their support.
If we don't tackle these problems of malnutrition, our socio-economic development is compromised. Because one, our children will not be as productive when they go to school. Some people will tell you a Gambian child born today, in 10 years or 20 years time, will only get the potential of 40% potential of getting his or her full potential. We should have been 100, but we are only registering 40%. So that means we have a lot of work to do. We are building schools, we are training teachers, we are getting the best of things. But again, if our children are hungry, they are malnourished, there is something amiss, and then we have to address it.
Yasuhiro Sumura, the World Food Programme country representative, said WFP's role in the Gambia is to support the government by strengthening its capacity in different intervention areas such as food security and nutrition. In this regard, he highlighted the significance of the Sentinel Site Surveillance system.
Because surveillance, Sentinel surveillance, okay, this is taking place in 19 sites all over the territory of the Gambia. And this allows the data collection on the different places and with more frequency. We have big surveys that take place every 3 years, 5 years, but it gives comprehensive pictures. But this Sentinel surveillance, it gives more real-time data collection and monthly and seasonal trends.
Vivian C. Ogwegbunem, a participant, believes the training is important and will have a positive impact on public health officers, as the Sentinel surveillance system will give them the opportunity to provide relevant and timely data on malnutrition for use in tackling the problem of malnutrition.
It is very, very vital because, as highlighted by some of the executives, that malnutrition is a major problem in the Gambia. So with this training, it's going to tackle so many problems that we face with malnutrition, and at least we'll be able to survey in our various districts and regions and come up with real-time data like they said, and we'll make sure that we have these things put in place, and then there will be solutions to solve them or address them.
Nutrition surveillance is an important strategy for measuring trends in undernutrition and vital in determining the appropriate nutrition responses. Its proper implementation will help provide early warning on any potential malnutrition problems that require action. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
Now on to news beyond our borders. Supporters of South Africa's former president Jacob Zuma have formed what they say is a human shield outside his home to try to prevent his arrest after the courts handed him a 15-month jail term for failing to appear before a commission of inquiry. More in this report.
The commission of inquiry was set up by Zuma himself under pressure over rising scandals and corruption allegations, shortly before he was removed from office in 2018 by the ruling African National Congress, ANC, after 9 years in power. Zuma testified before the commission only once in July 2019 and never appeared again, accusing the commission of bias. He then ignored several invitations to reappear, citing medical reasons and preparations for an other corruption trial. On Tuesday, the Constitutional Court found him guilty of contempt for disobeying its order to appear before a corruption inquiry and had set the deadline for his arrest for midnight on Sunday. However, the Constitutional Court later agreed to hear his challenge to the 15-month jail term he was given. But whether that has affected the arrest deadline is unclear. Sending me to jail during the height of a pandemic at my age is the same as sentencing me to death, 76-year-old Zuma said. He also said that he had been lambasted with a punitive jail sentence without trial, and that South Africa is fast sliding back to apartheid rule. Jacob Zuma told hundreds of his cheering supporters who have been camping outside his home that any attempt by the police to arrest him would have led to a chaotic confrontation. The gathering by his supporters is illegal, as it is against the country's regulations aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19. Despite this, no police officers came to disperse the gathering, leading many to say the former president is above the law and that justice is not seen to be done when it comes to powerful politicians. Mr. Zuma has repeatedly told his supporters that he doesn't fear imprisonment and that his legal team is working behind the scenes and around the clock to keep him out. However, the court has said it will consider Mr. Zuma's appeal on 12 July. Zuma is separately facing 16 charges of fraud, corruption and racketeering relating to a 1999 purchase of fighter jets, patrol boats and military jets from 5 European arms firms for nearly $5 billion. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
As we wish 2 African countries a happy Independence Day, here is a short report.
2 African near neighbors share the same day, the 6th of July, as their Independence Day. They are Malawi and the Comoros. In order of seniority, Malawi gained independence from Britain on this day in 1964, and the Comoros gained its independence from France 11 years later in 1975. Malawi, officially the Republic of Malawi, is a landlocked country in the southeastern Africa and was formerly known as Nyasaland. Malawi is surrounded by Mozambique to the south and southeast and the southwest, Tanzania to the east and the northeast, and Zambia to the west. The country's first prime minister and later its first president was Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda. He led the country for 32 years from 1961, which was before independence, up to 1993. As of January 2021, the country had a population of 19.4 million. And the country has 2 official languages, English and Chewa. The other country celebrating independence today is the Comoros. It is an island country in the Indian Ocean at the northern end of the Mozambique Channel, off the eastern coast of Africa. It shares maritime borders with Madagascar and Mayotte to the southeast, Tanzania to the northwest, and Mozambique to the west, and the Seychelles to the northeast. Its capital is Moroni. The religion of the majority of the population and the official state religion is Sunni Islam. It has a population of just 850,000 people. And this year, their football team qualified for their maiden AFCON qualification, coming second in Group G behind Egypt. The country has 3 official languages, Comorian, French and Arabic. On this day, we wish both Malawi and the Comoros a happy Independence Day. For QTV News, I am Ade Darami.
South African Nick Dlamini made history at this year's Tour de France by being the first black South African to compete in cycling's most famous race. The 25-year-old joins only a handful of black Africans who have competed at the Tour. Mamadou Mbouch has the rest of that.
Despite his early exit, coming at the 9th stage of a 21-stage competition, he had won many admirers for his ambition and tenacity. An unfortunate crash gave him a ghost of a chance of making the qualifying time to proceed to the next stage, but he wasn't deterred. He picked himself up, remounted his bike to finish stage 9's 144.9-kilometer race from Cluse to Tinge in the Alps, which included 4,500 meters of climbing. The spectators cheering him on all the way for his gutsy will to succeed. He was the only black cyclist at the Tour de France, and his history of how he had made it from a township in South Africa to the biggest cycling race in the world has been much written about as an extraordinary tale of individual determination and opportunity. Having been born in a slum outside of Cape Town, Dlamini grew up in a social environment, witnessing shootings and fights with knives. There, he says, you were only someone if you carried a gun. And bikes were a luxury. Maybe 1 in 15 boys had a bike there. We used to line up, and one guy takes it for a minute, then brings it back, and the next guy gets on, he says. He took to cycling, having previously been an athlete, to explore sites far and wide in his area. A friend told me one day what he saw when he was on his bike. That's when I was fascinated, he says. His talents soon saw him join Team Kubeka Next Hash, a South Africa-based cycling team, the first team in Africa registered to compete in the Tour de France. He was among 8 members, one from the USA, another from Colombia, and the rest from Europe, selected for the competition. According to the team principal, Dlamini has been always an individual that has stepped up and taken the opportunities that he's fought for. Upon his selection, Dlamini expressed his appreciation of what he called the team's Ubuntu spirit, I am because we are, which had given him the opportunity to perform at the biggest stage in world cycling. While most major sports have become more diverse, road cycling has remained very, very white. The first black cyclist to compete in the Tour de France is Johan Genet from Guadeloupe in 2011, even though the competition had been going on for 108 years. Eritrean riders Daniel Tekle-Haymanot and Mahawi Kudus are the first black Africans to compete in the Tour. In 2015, in an interview with the BBC, Dlamini says, I really hope that this will serve as a reference of hope and inspiration to many young South Africans and people around the world who have been working really hard to reach their dreams. My hope is that they take from this that anything is possible. After his farewell from the Tour, he would need to recover from his injuries as he is part of South Africa's squad for the Olympic road race in Tokyo. For QTV News, I am Mamadou Mbouch.
Viewers, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Do join us at 10 for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.